This video will show you exactly how to do an exercise called brainstorming, which can completely transform the way you see the abundance process for you to attract more money into your life. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you an idea from a book that I just read. It's called Witchcraft. It's like an old school book. It's, what's it exactly called? It's How to Get What You Really Want. It's an older book. It was probably written like 20, 30 years ago. Maybe more, maybe less, I'm not quite sure. It's a book that's about understanding different ways of being abundant, different ways of using visualization that maybe are unconventional. And I found it to be a powerful book for those things. Now, in that book, there's a concept called brainstorming. And brainstorming is where we're able to use our brain in a certain way to see new probabilities and to see new possibilities for us to attract what we want. Because a lot of times in our own mind, we have these little boxes that say, well, you know, I want to get a yacht, or I want to be on a yacht, and the only way I can, you know, be on a yacht and sail around the world is if I had $3 million, or $10 million, or $100 million, and then from there I was able to rent it, and then I was able to go X, Y, Z, and all of these things and all these rules inside of our own mind. But you see, what brainstorming does is brainstorming allows us to see it from new angles, to see maybe without just being a millionaire. Is that the only way that I can ride on a yacht around the world? Is there other opportunities for me to do so? Could I, for example, maybe do it without being a millionaire? Are there ways that we can do that? And what are the bridges that we can make in our own mind towards being able to do that? What if, for example, instead of saying, let's use that example, having a yacht and going around the world with it. If we were to think to ourselves, if I wasn't rich, how could I have this opportunity come? Could it be that maybe you're a photographer and that maybe there's somebody that already has a lot of money, that already has a yacht, that may say, hey, if you come with me and do all my photography and do all of this stuff for Instagram or something like that, you could travel with me, and the exchange is you do all of this stuff for free. You see, that's a new angle. Could it be that you work for a company, maybe a travel agency, and you're taking pictures for them, and you get to go on different cruises and yachts and travel around the world? You see, what brainstorming allows us to do is to see around corners and to see new possibilities of how we can attract things into our life. And really, this has also have to do with removing our definition of abundance, because many times when it comes to abundance, we think that abundance only comes in the form of money. I want to be abundant means I want to be rich. I want to have all this stuff coming in. There's nothing wrong with it. But here's the thing. If we limit ourselves and say the only way I can be abundant is if I have this amount of money in my bank account, we may once again be limiting ourselves from the actual kind of experiences we could be having. Now remember, the ego can only get attached to certain ideas. The ego can only imagine a certain amount of best case scenarios. And for the ego, the roof of the ego, the ceiling of the ego may only be the floor of the higher mind or of a higher level of awareness, which is why it's important to become aware of what our definitions are. What if these things in our life could come in so much easier if we relaxed our definition about money, about abundance, and knowing that maybe if we say, you know what if abundance to me were opportunities? What if abundance were, people that I meet? It's a certain feeling that I have. It's resonating with a certain type of people. And what if we had no expectation to how things came into our life, and it didn't have to just be money? What if it were somebody that we met that said, hey, you want to come with me? I'm going to go, travel the world and do this. You want to come with me and do this? Maybe you could document it, blog it, put it on your website, put it on your YouTube channel. Just an idea. That's the idea, is that what we can learn to do is to relax our definitions about abundance, relax our definitions and say, in order to do X, I must do Y, or I must already have this. Now, this is the process you can use. What you do is you ask certain questions to yourself while you're in the visualization process. You think to yourself, normally, I want to have this amount of money. I want to just be wealthy and have this car and do this and X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. But what you do is you then say, what I really want is an emotion. And that emotion could be the freedom to go around the world. That emotion could be the freedom to travel. That is an emotion that you feel, the freedom to do so. Now that I know that emotion, how could I X, Y, Z? How could I get that emotion without just money? How could I travel the world without being a millionaire, without having all this money? And you start to ask yourselves these questions. How could I do X without money? How could I get it without this? How could I meet this type of person? And you start to focus and revert it back from just the money, just from the way that we normally think about it, to other opportunities. And as we ask ourselves these questions, how could I become more abundant? How could I feel more abundant and be able to travel the world without having $1 million? We find that our mind comes up with new possibilities and new probabilities. And we begin to stretch outside of the current goal that we have and outside of the current blueprint we have to see a much more expanded point of view. And that's where the power of this video is in the inquiry of questions. Start to ask yourself new questions and ask yourself the question, is my idea of abundance only focused around money? And can I expand what money is into different opportunities? An opportunity to meet someone specific, an opportunity to have some type of work for another company and travel and do the things that way. Are there other ways that people have done it? And one of the best ways to do this is to also read stories of people who've done things like this. If you read people's biographies, if you type in and find out ways on Google of making and doing things without having money, you'll find many different ways of doing it. There's volunteering. Volunteering is a powerful way to have that abundant. You could volunteer to do certain work for companies and to do it for free in exchange for the opportunity to maybe travel around the world and stay in hotels for free in exchange for what you're giving. And eventually that could turn into something where you travel around for free, plus you get paid to do it if you do a good enough job, if you go above and beyond. So you see, this is about understanding brainstorming in the sense of seeing new angles, finding people that have done the same thing, reading biographies and reading stories and blogs of people who branch outside of the conventional norm, who are able to see things from new point of views. And as you do it, you expand your definition of abundance. You expand your definition of how money can come into your life, or how and what you can do even if you didn't have the exact dollar amount that you would normally have to have. And that's my main intention with this video, is that you start to see it from a new point of view so that you expand your definition of abundance so that then you can be abundant in a completely new way. You can create from a completely new point of view, and then you'll get a completely new experience in your life, which I think is the ultimate goal. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little notification button so that you're able to see the daily videos that I do. Also, I just put a PDF in the description box on the top 5 law of attraction books that have changed my life. I get asked that question all of the time, and I finally made a PDF for it. You'll find it there. 2 of those books can be read in literally less than 2 hours or less than 50 pages long. So I hope that you're able to get the same benefit that I got from it. So other than that, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste.